The next one that I'd like to share is Bristol. And when you think about exorcism, you tend to think that it's going to be somewhere like a ruined castle or an old manor house or something with a history, with a traditional, sort of spooky setting, atmospheric. This was the Odeon cinema. And a young usher had been so terrified of something he thought was endless that he'd given up his job. Now, we weren't in the middle of the recession, but you don't shut up a good job with the Odeon Cinema Company for no reason. And he maintained that there was something in there, some dark, evil, psychic force that was attacking him, and asked me if I would go down and exorcise the corridor where it happened. I almost never see or hear anything. I have to have a good medium with me if I'm going somewhere like this. I want to investigate it seriously. I've got a very trusted friend who was a qualified nurse, and she's also got a law degree. She's a very sensible girl, and she's highly talented and perceptive as a medium. So what Brenda says, you can believe. She's telling you what she's really seeing, and she's not making it up out of a load of codswallop. And so I took her along with me. We asked as many of the questions as you do, and to see if there was any history to the cinema. Apparently, in 1946 or 7, not long after the war, a manager had been shot dead in his office. Somebody just opened his door and bang, and gone. Never saw. This could be a psychic trigger for some sort of paranormal phenomena in the cinema. But that was all we could learn about the history of the place that might have had a bearing on what was upsetting this young fella. So, Bremner and I, with him, said, look, show us the place where you feel you're being attacked. We went into one of the corridors. He said, it's here, Father, it's here. This is where it came to me. And then quite suddenly clutches his stomach as in, they're attacking me, and slides down the wall, finishing up at my feet in a sort of fetal position. And Brenda, I said, can you see anything? What's happening? And she said, I don't know how to describe those, but they're like psychic piranha fish, and they're also red. And I said, there, where? She said, there. So, producing the holy water and doing the prayer of exorcism. And I always end it with the wonderful words of St. Columba. You know, that's the saying of Columba. A poor fisherman had lost his boat. It was drifting out into the loch, and without it he couldn't earn his living. Columba said to one of his young monks, who was very athletic and glad at women, can you go out there and fetch it? And the young monk set off across the loch to retrieve the poor fisherman's boat. And suddenly, according to the story, something with humps began moving towards the brave young monk, whereupon Columba, no coward, plunges into the water himself, points at the thing, whatever, and shouts in a voice that must have terrified it, touch not thou that man, in the name of God, be gone! And Humps turned round and went off in the opposite direction. As they do. As they do. And so I used that prayer of Columba's when I was trying to get rid of whatever it was that my medium friend said was attacking the young usher. And I sprinkled holy water where she directed me, get rid of her. And suddenly there was a change in the atmosphere. It had been quite heated and unpleasant. That suddenly changed to, you know, the stuff they can put through an air conditioner and it comes out like pine disinfectant at the other end. There was a smell as of a beautiful pine wood. And the lad who had been on the floor gets up, dusts his stomach down as if he's been in mud or dust, and says, "Wow, they've gone. That feels better." And Brenda, my medium friend, said, "They are streaking off down the corridor as fast as they can go. They are terrified. I don't mean of me, but of the prayer and the holy water. They've gone." Now, I don't know whether that was some purely psychological factor, whether the poor boy, having heard about the unsolved murder and being a very sensitive lad, felt that there was some dark, negative psychic force in the place and that he was susceptible to it. But I did trust Brenda's view, and I did, for myself, notice the difference in the atmosphere. It was a strange one, and it was in such a strange place. You know, you normally do exorcisms in ancient, haunted, crumbling ruins or spooky churchyards. But the Odeon cinema at Bristol, not the sort of place you'd have thought.